get rid of him, what was going to do with him. I've had a ponder around the house and in the rooms, and I feel George is weak.
Okay.
He's not strong. He's one of these men who would be only strong to abuse women, do you understand? And now the lady has gone, and Tilly has gone in his eyes, because we bubbled her and protected her. He's not going to take a lot to move on.
Okay.
I'm going to do a ritual that I've used before, which is very successful, where we use the family and ourselves, and we're all going to hum individually, as I asked you to do that, and then we shout, get out, get out, get out 3 times, and then he will draw himself automatically to the ball, and then we endorse him in there. I will cleanse that for you, I promise you, and then he's gone.
Okay.
And then automatically, as soon as he's entered in there, Tilly's free. Okay, so I promise you, Tilly's going to be here.
Firstly, Ian prepares to get rid of George by placing some protection around the table.
I ask for my guides and inspirers to open the channel from me to the crystal ball, what's placed upon the table, and I ask for this soul to go within that ball and that ball only. And once that person's entered there, I ask of you to close that doorway and never to be open again. Johnny, Mike, Sue. 1, 2, 3.
Get out! Get out! Get out!
We ask for the doorway to be closed into the spirit world.
It's been a long night for everyone, but the team believe they've banished the abusive gentleman and moved Maria onto the light, whilst keeping Tilly safe in the house. Before they leave, Stephen takes some final readings.
Well, just come back from the house. It feels like a lot calmer after the night we had from all types of activity, and it does feel a lot better in there now. The spirit's moved on to the light. It does feel like a safer place to live.
Coming up, Living with the Dead historian Hallie Rubenhold makes an intriguing discovery.
I found a Nicholas Topping who in 1857 is described as a carriage owner and a bathing van proprietor, and was well known as a violent drunk.
And Sue describes how life has changed since the exorcism.
It was quite calm, but unfortunately that didn't last.
At Sue Dennis's house in Blackpool, the Living with the Dead team believe they've just exorcised an abusive male spirit by the name of George.
Old, 64, going bald.
Get out! Get out! Get out!
Ian and Johnny had picked up on a strong smell of alcohol with this entity.
The stench of alcohol and smoke.
Tripping up these stairs. Drunk.
As well as a dislike for children.
Bloody kid out my way!
Armed with these clues, Living with the Dead historian Hallie Rubenhold visits the local library to see who this spirit might have been.
I found a Nicholas Topping who in 1857 is described as a carriage owner and a bathing van proprietor. He lived in a nearby house and was well known as a violent drunk. Nicholas also had a rather unusual living situation whereby he lived with his youngest child, his little girl, while the 2 elder children lived next door with their grandfather. And I found this, a newspaper report from 1862, and it states here that in a drunken rage, Topping went next door, broke down the door, and physically assaulted his father-in-law. And this hadn't been the first example of domestic violence, and it was unlikely to be the last.
Could this drunken wretch be George? A fortnight on, Sue and her family reflect on their experience with the Living with the Dead team.
When Ian asked me to go up to my bedroom, I was a bit perplexed, and I thought, I wasn't quite sure of whether I wanted to do it or not. However, I did actually go up, and I was sat on my bed, and I knew I could sense there was a spirit in there with me.
I was very apprehensive for her. Knowing how sensitive she is, I was a little bit scared for her, to be honest.
At this point, I had got George the spirit that was stood at the foot of my bed say to me, this house will not let anything happen. They are all fools. I felt sick, lightheaded, cold inside. At one point I thought I was going to projectile vomit. We then went into the front room with a wedding dress that was my mother's, that I have on a stand, that Johnny felt was drawing the energies of a lady called Maria.
Okay, and we'll just have the dress in first.
Maria had an attachment to the wedding dress and, in effect, wanted to try it on. But all of a sudden there was just like a huge wave of emotion, and it just hit me full on, and I just collapsed onto the settee with this gut-wrenching sorrow. Oh God, no! I couldn't control it at all. It just took over completely.
Just relax, deep first. Just let it come.
I've never heard a more soul-searching cry in my whole life, to the point it really upset me.
Give her.
I've never seen my sister start weeping like she did, and that was the bit that got me the most.
Then Ian decided to get rid of the dark, the eviler, nasty man through a crystal outing session.
Get out! Get out! Get out!
It was quite a relief that he actually went, because he wasn't a particularly nice man.
In the belief that this dark spirit has been moved on to another world, how does the family now feel about living in the house?
After everybody went, it went calm. It was quite calm. I did sleep, which is more than what I'd done for a few weeks, but unfortunately that didn't last. There is things happening in the house now, inexplicable things that I haven't experienced before.
There was a glass on a shelf in the kitchen, which has come flying off on its own and gone halfway across the room, which I think really did actually shake my mum up quite badly.
The activity has grown since everybody's been here, to the point that I do feel I've got an angry man, and he's letting his presence be known, obviously, through this activity that's happening at the moment.
Is this continued activity the result of residual energy, or has she been meddling with DIY seances again?
I haven't done another tabletop, but I have been reading up on subjects. No, it won't stop me, because, like I say, I've got an open mind and I believe in all this, and it won't stop me.
Next tonight, graffiti appears on Melinda Gordon's door. Who's responsible? A hoodie? Or something much, much darker? If you like to be creeped out just before bedtime, and who doesn't, you've come to the right place. Ghost Whisperers after the break.